Hey guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. My name is Johnny, and today we are carrying on with the French tank destroyer line. We're on to the tier 5, the S35 CA. And first thing we'll do is take a little look at the differences between this and its predecessor, the SEU 40. So if we look at the profile of the tank, first thing you'll notice is it's almost the same size. The S35 CA is a little shorter in the main body of the tank, but also a little taller than the SEU 40. But the benefits of it is it doesn't have this protrusion on the top, and if we look at the front, you'll actually notice that the S35 is narrower than the SEU 40, which is nice. Bit of a smaller target from the front. So yeah, it's not too bad. The armour differences on the SEU 40, around about 35 everywhere, wasn't the best. I mean, the armour was basically non-existent. But on the S35, we're up to 56, but still 35 on the sides and rear. So it's not the greatest. I have been able to get a couple of bounces in this thing, so when I've been retreating round a corner and it gets at a nice angle. But it's, yeah, you should not be relying on your armour for this thing. It's just not going to end well. So yeah, I'll show you the setup I've been using. I've also been grinding through this. I've got the tracks, and also moved on to the tier 6, I've got that unlocked already. Haven't bothered with the engine, which may or may not have been a reasonable choice. It gives you an extra 40 horsepower. I didn't really feel like it was necessary, to be honest, but hey. I've got the best radio, because I think we might have already had that unlocked from a previous tank. Just have a look. Yeah, we got that in the SEU 40, so that was fine. And I'm still using the stock gun. Reasons for this, as we can see, 171 pen. We'll look at the pen of the other guns. Got 135 in this thing, and 165 in this thing. But the differences in the guns, in my opinion, in this one, it's not so much upgrading your gun from the stock gun, it's more personal preference, in my opinion, because you've got the most pen on the first gun. I think some people would argue the penetration's a little high. You don't need that much at tier 5, which is, you know, debatable. Depends how good you are at finding good angles and shooting weak spots and whatnot. But on the other guns it does drop, but the damage goes up of course, and then the rate of fire decreases as well with the upgrades. So in my opinion it's more personal preference as to what you want, and I've actually found I had a really bad run with RNG I found when I started playing this tank. This is the most accurate gun with 0.36 accuracy, but I was missing quite a few shots, and I didn't feel like changing to a gun which had worse accuracy. The tier 7 one's got 0.4 and the tier 6 has got 0.41, so I felt like I'll stick with the more accurate one because it's not been going too well. And you know, it's, as I say, it's personal preference. I mean, this gun does 150 damage, this one does 300, but it has less than half the rate of fire, so technically the damage per minute's kind of, you know, well, it's in favour of the stock gun, but obviously you have to hit more shots for that to pan out. So yeah, I've been sticking with the stock gun, but I'm still using this thing, and we'll cover that later. As for these two guns on the S35 are also available on the ARL V39, so it's maybe worth, I've done a little bit of research, and maybe worth unlocking these guns on the S35 before you move on to the ARL V39. So yeah, with that little roundup of what I'm using, we'll jump into a battle and see what we can get. Alright, standard battle on highway, and it's tier 5 max, so that's always nice. But yeah, I've had quite a bad run over the weekend there. It's sometimes a little bit of a curse with World of Tanks, is when all the great players come out at the weekend who just seem to give you terrible games. I've had horrible RNG with this tank. What else has happened? I've had troll platoons who just start killing each other at the start. I have been shot from my spawn, like straight away, get shot by my own team and taken to half health in one game. I've had a game where someone pushed me out of cover, an ally pushed me out of cover, and I was picked off because I had nowhere to go. It's been fun. That's kind of why this video has been delayed a couple of days. It wasn't a good start with this tank. It was just about everything that could go wrong was going wrong. So I'll start going down to this little bush. And one of the great things about this tank over the previous French tank destroyers is the arc of fire. That's max left there and go all the way to the right, which is nice. Cone of fire's been very narrow on the previous tanks, so this one's quite nice. Just gives you a bit more flexibility. We've got a Churchill 1 coming to join me. I just like to come down to this position sometimes in this map, see if anyone wants to come through the middle. And I've got my binoculars set up on this tank. That was something I got a long time ago. I recommend that if you're floating quite a bit of cash at any point. There are 3 pieces of equipment that you can buy that you can take off tanks and put on other tanks without having to pay gold. That's the binoculars, which increase your view range by 25% when you're stationary for about 5 seconds. Then they kick in. There's the camo net, which increases your camo rating when you stay still for 5 seconds. And what's the other one? Ah yes, the toolbox, which I've got in this, increases your repair rate by 25% I think. So really handy pieces of equipment. And if you're floating quite a bit of cash, it can be quite nice. Particularly when you move on to some of the higher tier tanks. I mean, when I got my M103, I was in it with, well, it wasn't quite a fresh crew, but they didn't have any skills on them yet. So having a repair kit, a toolbox even, having a toolbox on that tank really does help when your crew doesn't have repairs yet. So it's a nice supplement, but it can be quite an investment. I'd always say don't buy equipment until it's on sale. There we go. Doo-be-doo. I should probably go and find some cover. Just a bounce on that one. Yeah, we'll have a stab. Oh, hello, ow. Okay, that'll be me. Ah, the joys. Yeah, that was kind of my fault, it was out in the open. Our team has kind of folded though. Scores are 3-10. That's brilliant. Joys. Not sure what happened in the town. But yeah, not the best game. Yeah, I don't really like kind of more open maps like this, where you're in a snipey tank destroyer that doesn't have much armour, and you don't have any kind of hard cover to hide behind, it's just all trees and bushes. That's why I was trying to push up to those houses, but I probably should have done that earlier if I was going to try for it. So we're down to 2 tanks and they'll be picked off very shortly. Didn't see what happened in the town, but it must have been horrible. And here comes the Zerg. M4 just bounced a shot from the back. There we go. Right, well that was horrible. We only got one damaging shot. Yeah. Right, never mind, we'll jump into another one. Keep it going. Redshire encounter. Oh, the encounter. Yeah, this has been a really interesting map since they've added it to the map pool. I quite like these new encounter maps they've put in, or you know, that they've implemented. I've had a few games in this where one team will just rush for the cap zone, and they manage to cap it. Just the teams aren't familiar with it yet and the best tactics for the games. But I like to come up to the ridge line, kind of in the trees and bushes here, and can normally get up to about here whilst they're still over on this side of the hill. So I think we might do that. Just see what everyone else is doing, which is not moving at the moment. Right, so we've got a good bunch going for the hill. Let's see what happens. Tier 5 max game again. It's always nice. Wish these guys would push up a bit more. Now starting to wonder, there we go. I was going to say I'm now starting to wonder where they are since we've not spotted any of them. There we go. Oh, hello. Oh no. Yeah, okay. And I'm dead. The joy! This is a problem I've had. I keep doing this. It was something I was starting to get a handle on. I know that we can push up further along the hill than this, so that is what I do. Not thinking, you know, I am not a scout tank. I should not be going this far forward. I should be staying behind my team. But let's see if we can get eyes on the A20. As he does. Yeah, the cap zone in this one is rather, well, it's not too bad. It's rather open at one side, but you do have some nice buildings that are not destructible. So if you manage to get in the cap zone, you can hide rather well. Even if you get in from the south side, you can hide behind this building. There's enough space in there to keep you covered from fire from this ridge line. And yeah, we've got most of our team descending on the cap zone now. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. The cap is up to 70. But yeah, that was a horrible play by me on that one. I just kept pushing. I shouldn't have. It's not my job. It's a really important thing to learn when you're playing this game, is what is your role, and then adapting to it. I've still got a kind of bad habit of, when I see something that's not being done, I instinctively want to do it because no one else is doing it. But there's sometimes you shouldn't, because your tank is not suited for that role. So you just need to deal with it, and I should have been behind some of my guys, so I should have just hung back further. And now this is a problem. Because the enemy team's been capping so well, our teams all descended on the cap zone, and the guys who were on the ridge line in the enemy team are now circling round behind them. I mean, it's still reasonably even, we're only one tank down, but I'm not overly keen on the positioning of our team. They've got enemy guns pointing at them from all the hills. Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to sneak a win in this. I mean, if we manage to cap, that would be extremely unexpected. Although we're not getting much enemy contact now. There we go. Yep, our guy's hiding on the wrong side of the house. And yeah, that's pretty much GG. So there we are. 2 horrible games on my part. Simply from bad decision making. But happens to the best of us every now and then. Just not as frequently with some of the better players. 2 horrible games. We'll jump in for a third one, see if we can get something good. 36 experience, yeesh. Ooh. Right, let's go again. Wow. Fun and games. Encounter battle, Prokhorovka. This should be better. I mean, there's some reasonable areas where you can hang back and be reasonably safe. Just have to decide what the best approach is on this map. Is whether you go up the left hand side of the map and secure this road and then push round, or whether you head up for the hill area here. I do prefer the hill most of the time. It just kind of depends how the team splits. Lots of tank destroyers. Yeah, we've got a good number of heavy tanks heading back the way, so that's nice. Should have the left road secured. I do like to head up for a hill here because it gives you quite a nice, it's a nice advantageous position. The problem is if everybody's going to come up here. Yeah. Not really sure why the KV-1's coming up. Tank destroyers, yes. Heavy tanks, not so much. For crying out loud, I'll just stop and let him move. And the base cap's up at 50. Does take a while to get in position with a slow tank, but the rewards can be very much worth it. ideally what I want this KV-1 to do if he's coming up here is make sure that the enemy team doesn't come up the other side. I mean, that should be his priority, whilst we snipe down into the cap zone. So I'm hoping he goes for that. Okay, what we got? T49, let's just have a shot. There we go. There we go. See, really nice position. Though we've got no one watching the other side of the hill, so I'm slightly worried about that. Yep, there we go. Yeah. Just want someone to be brave and head up. Well, we've got it pretty well covered by the looks of it. That KV-1 has gone right to the edge and just got picked off. Right. I'll move forward a bit. See if I can get an angle on anything. Oh, well, that's Churchill dead. We've got the cap zone secured at the moment by the looks of it. They've only got 4 boys left. Oh, come on, critical, really? I want damage. There we go. Ow. I'm the one they aim at. There's a stag and a T49 there to shoot at. And we cap. Aye. Well, there we go, that was a little bit better. Still not the best game, but hey, we survived, we done more damage. 996 for ×3. Meh. Cool. Right, so as we can see, I've almost got 6,000. I think I'm going to unlock the 105mm. And then I don't know, I might move on to my ARL V39 or I might stay with this and unlock this one. Because I'll show you one of the main issues with this tank, which I noticed and I'm not looking too forward to. The weight/load limit is 24.84 tons out of 25. And if we have a look, right, so the first gun you get is a tier 3 gun, which has 68 penetration, 110 damage, and 0.45 accuracy, and it looks like a very terrible gun. You're in a tier 6 tank destroyer, why do you have a tier 3 gun? So let's look. Okay, well, we've already unlocked this 75mm, so can we put that on? No, as you can see the weight is 1400 kilos. It weighs too much to fit on this, so we have to get the tracks first, and the tracks cost 5,375 experience. So your choices with this thing are grind out 5,375 experience with a tier 3 gun, or sink that much free experience so that you can skip this phase. I don't know why it's set up that way. To start with a tier 3 gun, you can't even fit this thing. Just going to check, make sure. Yep, all the other guns weigh more, so it's not even like you skip this one and move on to another one. But yeah, that's not a good setup. So I don't know, I might struggle through with the tier 3 gun, or I might play a couple of games to see how it plays. I don't think it'll play very well, especially for such a low tier gun on that high tier tank. For it to have really abysmal accuracy is just very strange. Normally when you've got the same gun on a higher tier tank, it is better in most of its stats. But yep, it's all the same stats as it was in the SAU-40, apart from the rate of fire is a bit better. But stuff's not looking forward to it. So I'll unlock this thing on the S35, and then I don't know, might move on, might stay with it and unlock the other gun as well. But yeah, that's not a good tank. Not looking forward to it. I've heard many things saying that this is a horrible tank destroyer, and that you need to slog your way through this before you get to the tier 7, which is actually your first kind of good, decent tank destroyer for the French line. So looking forward to that, but still on this thing for the moment. I have bought the ARL V39, got it when it was still discounted, and that's as far as I managed to get. Didn't manage to get to the AMX AC MLE 46. Didn't manage to get there. It would have been some challenge to manage to grind my way all the way through there, and I didn't feel like sinking my free experience. So I managed to get to the tier 5 and buy the tier 6. But that was the S35 CA. Couple of terrible games and then an average one. But hey, such is the nature of live com. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this videos, guys. This video, singular. I thank you for watching. That will be the end of our French tank destroyer special line, and we'll see what comes along next. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.